Yeah, second.
Motion by Erica, second by Chris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, next up is persons present not on the agenda. I think the town clerk will call people up in order that they signed in. And if you didn't get to sign in yet, now's a good chance if you'd like to make a public comment to sign in. And for every comment, please direct your comments toward me as mayor, as the chair of this board. I'll limit you to 3 minutes, and just please make your comments respectful and as relevant to local issues as possible.
Leo Hells.
Great.
Hello, hello everyone. My name is Leo. I'm a high school student in Carbondale. I'm here today to express my voice over the egregious happenings of the Middle East, and thank the city of Carbondale for not accepting the proposed financial involvement. I believe proposed at the last few town council meetings. Israel's sovereignty was broken on October 7th. 1,400 innocent civilians were murdered, raped, kidnapped, skinned, and even beheaded. And Hamas terrorists and angry people pillaged Israeli border kibbutzes. Just this past week, Israel's director of military intelligence resigned over security failures related to October 7th. But if there is ever a justification for war, October 7th was it. I believe all nations and people should stand along with our longtime ally, Israel, in eliminating and removing Hamas from power. After all, Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East region, and we are vastly ideologically similar. The only real democracy in the Middle East region. Hamas ousted Fatah and was democratically elected to govern in Gaza in 2006. Israel supported them as a sovereign nation until they became a threat, at which point a blockade was set around Gaza. Many countries, including Israel, have tried to help in countless scenarios, such as in 2014, when Europe installed water pipes to relieve civilians, but Hamas ripped them out of the ground to make missiles to kill people. These terrorists have used hospitals and schools as military installations, while Israel has acted as the most humanitarian military in human history, dropping pamphlets, sending warning texts, and knocker bombs to warn civilians to evacuate buildings. These warnings make tactical fighting even more difficult in an already precarious urban warfare environment. Guerrilla warfare and terrorists wearing civilian clothing are tactics commonly employed by Hamas terrorists, many of whom were once trained by Iran. By the way, when one of the tens of thousands of Hamas terrorists is brought to justice or killed, their body is counted as a civilian casualty by the Hamas-run health ministry. To state it simply, Middle Eastern urban conflict is a strategic nightmare, and Israel is trying its best. There will be accidents, but Hamas has strategically embedded itself under civilians and purposefully made the full avoidance of civilian casualties impossible. The head of the urban warfare studies at one of our most respected military bases, West Point, agrees with me and said, and I quote, "Israel has taken more steps to avoid harming civilians than any other military in history. Truth is, Hamas wants people dead because it bolsters international attention. We cannot blindly listen to the numbers coming from the Hamas-run health ministry. They are faked, and again, as I said before, Hamas doesn't distinguish between innocent people and terrorists who are dressed as civilians, not militants. With all of that said, this new $27 billion going to Israel, as well as a few billion in aid for Gaza from the federal government.
You're right at 3 minutes.
Okay, just give me just a few more sentences. The federal United States government has handled this for us and will continue to do so. There is no need for a small town such as Carbondale to concern itself with international conflicts or happenings. Let's let Israel decide how she wants to defend herself and her sovereignty, just like Ukraine, and stand by on the right side of history as supporters. While the idea of a ceasefire is noble, terrorists need to be eliminated first, or Hamas will remain in control of Gaza.
Thank you.
As Americans, we should always appreciate Israel for standing as a buffer between our country, our soldiers, and our deepest enemies. Ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Shalom be'al kol Yisrael, which translates to make peace, peace for us, peace for Israel. Thank you so much.
Jess, who's next?
Evan Piccolo.
Hi, my name's Evan Piccolo. I'm a Carbondale resident, and may I start with having a show of hands of who's here for the ceasefire resolution tonight to support? Thank you. We thank you for the allowing us the space to speak, and we hope you see the merit in what we are asking of you. We are once here again to ask you to adopt a ceasefire resolution similar to the one passed in Glenwood. Since our last meeting, 944 Gazans have been killed with weapons paid for by our tax dollars which could have been invested back into our own community where they're desperately needed. The resounding response to our request in past meetings has been that this is not a local issue, but we have sought out these conversations and we are confident in the vast majority of our community does not want their tax dollars spent violating international law and bombing civilians. We know Carbondale locals are behind our efforts and we urge you to stand with them. We've also been asked to take this to state and federal officials, and we have, but they have refused to listen. We are here today in hopes that you might help them hear us, because the simple fact is this issue is urgent above all else. Again, in the last 2 weeks since this body has last met, 944 people have died. We are acting at all levels and asking everyone with a platform to call for an immediate ceasefire, because every day that is delayed becomes too late for another son, daughter, mother, or father. We know this is not an easy ask and is well above your pay grade, but we also know it means uncomfortable conversations with neighbors, friends, and perhaps even loved ones. We know that we are living through a deciding moment in history, and we have an obligation to stand for justice, peace, and freedom, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's hard. If you've ever wondered what you would have done in the face of slavery, segregation, or the fight to end apartheid in South Africa, this is your chance to answer that question. This is your chance to say that you could have used your power to do what you could do. A ceasefire resolution from this board may not end the funding for the genocide in Gaza, but ceasefire resolutions from cities and towns across the U.S. just might. And thank you.
Christina Flores.
Hi all, and thank you again for your time. When I think back to the last trustee meeting when Ceasefire Now Warren Fork Valley asked this board once again to add a ceasefire resolution to the agenda, I can't stop thinking about the group of local high school students who sat in and about the young gentleman who came up and gave his comment today. Their presence here gives me hope that we are raising a generation that cares and cares to use their voice to advocate for issues of justice and peace. Their presence reinvigorates my commitment to advocating for a more just world, to acting in a way that inspires the next generation to continue to think of others, to act for others, to use their power for others. And so once again, we're here to ask you to consider putting on the agenda a ceasefire resolution that advocates for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, the uninhibited entrance of humanitarian aid, and the release of all Israeli hostages and arbitrarily detained Palestinians. Keeping in mind the next generation, it is with a heavy heart as a former educator that I share with you that in the 2 weeks since the last trustee meeting, around 400 Palestinian students have been killed, as have about 40 Palestinian educational staff members, per reports by the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. Currently, 625,000 Palestinian youths have no access to education, including my dear friend Kosai's 3 cousins. I have carried Kosai and his whole family in my heart since I met him in 2014. And since the beginning of this war in Gaza, I have thought about him when I get out of bed, when I hug my mother, when I call my sister to catch up about her college experience. I've been sending Kosai message after message since October 7th with no expectation that he's going to respond to me because I know how much he's carrying. I finally heard from Kosai this past weekend. He shared that his 3 cousins have been separated from their mother, who is a breast cancer patient, who has not been able to receive treatment since the beginning of the war, and was finally able to evacuate to Egypt a few weeks ago to seek medical treatment. Qusay's three cousins remain in Raqqa. His eldest cousin is a recent graduate from the University of Palestine in Gaza, which has been fully destroyed. His middle cousin he was studying to be a pharmacist, but the war has impeded him from completing his studies. His youngest cousin passed his high school graduation exam in the 93rd percentile and dreamed of studying engineering. He joined the UN agency's training college, known as DTC, which also was destroyed by Israeli military forces.
Can you wrap up, please? You're a little over 3 minutes.
Yes, I will just leave you with a few words by Palestinian poet Mahmoud Darwish. As you prepare your breakfast, think of others. Do not forget the pigeon's food. As you conduct your wars, think of others. Do not forget those who seek peace. As you pay your water bill, think of others, those who are nursed by clouds. As you think of others far away, think of yourself. Say, if only I were a candle in the dark. Thank you.
Adrian Victor.
I'd like to thank the outgoing council members for your service as well as the ongoing ones and congratulate the new ones. Me llamo Adrián Víctor, vivo en Carbondere y voy a leer una poema que escribe hoy día que se llama Why We Need to Talk. This bumper sticker on the motorcycle driven by Israeli artist Rami says in Hebrew, if we don't talk, it will never end. And that's the simple answer to my title. We need to talk, not in spite of how difficult it is, but precisely because of it. We've been targeted by $1 trillion PsyOps campaign designed to suppress dialogue about this issue, both in the public sphere and with family and friends. Not since Vietnam have we seen such division, and it's sad. And that's really saying something. Having witnessed unspeakable atrocities over the past half year, the systematic destruction of human lives, family homes, civil infrastructure like water wells and treatment plants, roads and hospitals and graveyards and schools at all levels, and the targeted killing of journalists, doctors, humanitarian aid workers, and even those seeking aid. It's been the salt in the wound, heart-wrenching to watch over the last few days. Even universities supposed to specialize in dialogue, utterly failing to even try talking with their students who are demanding they divest from US and Israeli arms dealers, opting instead to promote fear and retribution by calling in riot police to shut down peaceful, nonviolent protests. Well, we can turn the tide on this bullying campaign. We can create a space for dialogue and understanding. We can host nonpartisan educational events so our community can get better informed. We let the world know, we can let the world know that we stand against human rights violations on all sides, that we call for an end to genocide and the liberation of all hostages on both sides. We can reflect on how our own actions generate war or peace, such as where we invest our pension funds and our tax dollars. Peace-loving people throughout the valley and the world will take heart to hear our town's conscience and will be called to muster their own. So many find it difficult to talk about this issue because we've been intentionally manipulated by the most successful, well-funded PR campaign in history, called a disinformation campaign.
You're right at 3 minutes.
To suppress any consideration of the human rights of Palestinians and other indigenous peoples around the world so we can more easily kick them out of their ancestral homelands. That campaign is paid for by you and me. So you're darn right we're affected here in Carbondale. We work hard to make ends meet. And then we have to give a huge cut of our hard earned to fund war crimes that create more hatred and violence, even more bad karma to come home to roost. And it will. We will reap what we sow or allow to be sowed in our name. So yeah, it's our issue too.
Thanks, Adrian.
And make no mistake about it, please. The warmongers do want to start World War III. Biden would rather wait to go to war until after the election because he knows Americans are against war now. But it's going to happen if we don't act.
Thanks, Adrian. We're gonna move on to other people. Okay, there's a lot of people waiting to talk, so please.
We have no problem mustering action for climate change, even though this is also a global issue. For we recognize that it's also a local one, that everything is related. This one too calls on us to recognize our beautiful, precious brothers and sisters in Palestine and Israel as their sacred kin. That is all our relations.
Thanks, Adrian.
Maya Hunt.
Hi, my name is Maya Hunt. I live in Glenwood, and I spoke with my perspective as a Glenwood resident when Ceasefire Now Forum for Valley first brought the resolution to the meeting, to be proposed to be put on the agenda. And at that time, I spoke about how I think that the Roaring Fork Valley is a tight community, and I do consider Carbondale to be part of my home as well. But this time I want to emphasize the growing separation that I have felt and emphasize that I am so relieved that my town has set itself apart from the ongoing atrocities. And Carbondale residents are asking you to do the same. And it's been 6 months now of children getting shot, of women having to have C-sections without anesthesia. And I'm not even gonna say that it matters whether this is intentional. It's happening, and we are the supporting agents of this, and we can do better. And we can't just say like, oh, it's Israel, you know, they're making the decisions, because we are funding it. We're sending them billions of dollars. We are, as a nation, supporting this and causing this. And I find that completely unacceptable. Glenwood finds it completely unacceptable. Carbondale is so complicit. Carbondale residents are asking you to not continue letting this happen in their name. And I know that some people have voiced the concern that this is too divisive of an issue to be addressed in this local forum. And I think that you volunteered to help facilitate, you know, by being elected, campaigning, you have volunteered to arbitrate matters like this. Like, this is clearly important to Carbondale, and it doesn't have to be divisive. I think it's irresponsible to give it a blanket no, as you have been. So please put it on your agenda and figure it out. So that it obviously needs to be a discussion, and it needs input from the community. We've given you a lot of input, and you've heard from other members. And if there are things that you still find unacceptable, then we can modify it and work together as a community to make it work. But please put it on your agenda, figure it out. Thank you.
Did anybody else sign up to speak?
Doc Phillip.
Oh, Doc. Doc, it's your turn. You're up.
Well, it's just a lot of reading, but I don't want to read to you. But we're here for one reason. Huh? You know, the way it's been going downtown has been funky and okay. And lately it's been going horrible. And we have to save our what's it called, 7th Street corner? Huh? Did I say that right?
I'm not sure, Doc, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Well, they tore down our 100-and-some-year-old building. And what they're gonna put up is horrible. We told them a number of times, personally and professionally, what to do and how to do it. And, they've got us shut down. They're not listening to any of us for anything. And there's a number of people that have been here before that have talked about nobody wants to change it. I could read you something I had submitted from what's in your I don't want to bore it. But what's going on? It's got to change.
Thanks, Doc.
Anybody else?
Pat Hunter. This is the last one.
I'm Patrick Hunter. I live in Stank. I was asked to come say a couple things on behalf of Ceasefire. And I know well that from past experience that what might be said here is probably not going to have much effect. I look back my little history here. I marched against Vietnam in '65 and I marched against Iraq in 2003. Marched against climate change in 2014. And now it's a ceasefire in Gaza. And obviously a little town government like this is not going to have a whole lot of impact on what the national government is doing. My feeling is it needs to stop what's going on. And I got one simple little fact. That is every 10 minutes. A child dies in Gaza. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. All right. Thank you all for your comments. We're now moving on to trustee comments.
Can I speak?
We had to sign in. If anybody else wants to sign in, Ron, go ahead. If anybody else wants to sign in now, please, so that we can move things along a little bit.
This one.
I'm Ron Kokish. I'm here representing Age Friendly Carbondale, and I live on Village Road. I wanted to say that Age Friendly Carbondale would support what Adrian is suggesting, which is public dialogue. I want to let the council know that there are groups working on creating public dialogue. We don't think it's appropriate for the council, but there will be a dialogue on this. The first of many, I hope, at Two Rivers Universalist services this Sunday morning at the 3rd Street Center. But really, I came here to welcome our new trustees on behalf of Age Friendly Carbondale. I wanted to let you know that we plan to make your term more difficult, but we hope also more productive for you, for the town, and more gratifying for everyone. So welcome and thank you to those of you who continue to serve.
That's all right. Thanks. Okay. I think now we are ready to move on with trustee comments. Who'd like to start? And this is our opportunity for them saying to our outgoing. Here. Marty.
I'm gonna start.
All right.
So, and I'll try to keep it at 3 minutes. Maybe.
You sit up here.
First, on the subject of the newcomers, I know this is really, we all know this. We were all newcomers at some point or another. Our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. Unless you are a Native American, 100%. We all have come from other countries. Let's just keep that in mind. There's been a lot of commentary, both good and not so good. But we all have come from somewhere else. Having said that, I'll call this the last roundup. After 13 years of service to this town, 5 with Parks and Rec and 8 as a trustee, I want to finish my time by acknowledging those who came before me, helped show me the way. And for those who come after me, I hope I can give them a hint or two. Those who came before me, Chief Gene Schilling, the mayors, Michael Hassig. We have another generation of Hassig here now. Stacy Bruneau, Dan Richardson, and Ben. Town managers, Jay Harrington and Lauren. In the past, the staff, Janet, Renee, Kathy Darby, Jeff Jackal, the 2 Johns, and many more. And Mark, you're both past and present, so. The present staff, Mark, Lauren, Jessica, Christy, Eric, Kevin, and Jared, among others. And Kirk, of course. All of the staff, past and present, and the different commissions have been the people who've made it possible for us to do our job. The trustees, John Hoffman, John Folkerod, Pam Zentmeyer, Elizabeth Murphy, Frosty Marriott, Heather, Henry, Katrina, among others. Lonnie and Louise, it's been a pleasure to work with you. Erica, Colin, I appreciate the time we've had together. And when we've had disagreements, it has not been personal, and to newcomers, it shouldn't be personal. Unlike some of those past trustees where they had fistfights in the hallway. That's a matter of record. Ask Mark, he could tell you. I want to leave you with 2 thoughts. And we know this. One is employee housing and one is affordable housing. Heather Henry worked diligently on a regional housing program. Colin has picked up the mantle and he's been working on it. The number one question when we go to recruit new staff members, where do I live? How do I pay for housing? And this is not just department heads. This is a police officer. This is a department head. This is our town manager. Okay? So we got to think about that. And the present board has thought about it. And there are plans in the works, hopefully, to get some employee housing. The second thing is affordable housing. Okay, well, first off, here's the bad news. Affordable housing does not mean cheap housing. Affordable housing means it is somewhat more affordable than free market. We cannot afford to lose more young couples in their 20s and 30s because they have no hope of getting a home here. And these are the people that provide the kids to our schools, that provide the future for our town. The Regional Housing Task Force is great, and we have been supporting it, and we will continue to do so, I hope. But we also need to go forward on our own without waiting for them. Such things that this board has spoken about, such as a mortgage down payment subsidy or a mortgage buy down are 2 examples. The other thing, and this is really, this board noticed it, but to the new board, anytime land becomes available, there's a very limited supply in town. We should try to be able to buy whatever land comes up. The town needs it for itself. The town also can use that land as a chip to negotiate with developers for future development. Maybe to get more affordable housing. But without the land, it's just a wish to say that we want more housing. So on that note, we're leaving you in good hands financially. Please stick with that. Spend the money wisely. You guys know what the issues are. Newcomers, you bring a new perspective, and that's important. That's why I think town limits are a great thing. Because otherwise I could be here another 20 years, and I don't want to do that. And our county commissioners, some of whom have been here 20 years, I think it's time for a change. So on that note, I'm going to say that.
And I think, is it on? Right. All right, I'm gonna keep mine brief because I didn't really have time to write comments, but I just want to say it's been my honor to serve with this board. Those who are here now and those who I served with before then. I know our decisions haven't always been easy, but I'm proud of the work that this board has done. I know the last 6 years have been transformative, obviously pre-COVID, which many of us can remember sometimes. But I want to give just kudos to this board. Kudos also to the staff who work hard every day for this town. A lot of people don't often see the work that goes on, but it's amazing the amount of effort and the long hours that they put in to make our town what it is. So hats off to them. And to the new trustees, my congratulations to them and wishing them all the best in their decision making. I know the town is in good hands with all of you. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, I wanted to just say a few words about each of you who I've had truly the pleasure of serving with, and I really appreciate it and consider you all friends. So if you need anything, let me know. And thanks for always loaning me fishing waders. Marty, something that I've learned from you is, and I really appreciate it, is you always show your appreciation for people. And I constantly am in meetings where I think, what would Marty do? First, he would say thank you, and then start asking questions. And it's true, and it really helps me. So I appreciate that. You always thank everybody. You're always the one who does first trustee comments, thanking for the latest community event or community happening. And it's so important to bring those up. And so I really appreciate that. I love how you always ask special event presenters and make sure they get all the information out about to our community. I really appreciate you always having the gossip. So maybe we'll have to get coffee more often. And I just really want to thank you. I think you did an awesome job representing our community, representing your neighborhood, giving a perspective of a, government employee, just bringing such an important perspective to our board and our discussion. So I really, really appreciate all the time that I've gotten to serve with you. Lonnie, I don't know how we're going to replace you on all these commissions you represent us on. And I just wanted to say, for those who don't know, she sits on additional commissions beyond what we normally sit on, representing us on all kinds of water issues in particular, but took on the detox center in Glenwood, super important, and one of those kind of critical community elements that is really important to help keep prodding along. I know from when I got to work with you when you were the Garfield Clean Energy representative, that you also take your role seriously. I mean, you drafted our strategic plan, which as a staffer, that really helped me out of having such an engaged board member. So knowing you're out there representing us on these other boards is, I just really appreciate that kind of dedication that you give. So thank you for doing all of that and then bringing up all their good work back to our meeting and public so they know about it. And Luis, it has just been really fun and also getting to know you as well. I think it's great that you've been on the Parks and Rec Commission and bringing that perspective and along with the Public Arts Commission. I think you have a lot to contribute to the community. I know you're super busy and really glad that you can make it tonight. But it's been fun getting to know you and yeah, becoming friends with you and your wife and stuff. So thank you for your service. That's all I have.
Comment?
Oh. I'll just give my final report here. I attended the Garfield County Energy and Environment Symposium last week and found it timely that one of the opening presentations by the Colorado Energy Office was on the Colorado Carbon Management Roadmap, during which its program manager gave a detailed discussion about the ongoing work with carbon capture and how the subterranean disposal methods under development uncovered the side benefit of running into the mineral needed for geothermal energy production. That's a big mouthful. Which of course happens to be germane to the project here at the Third Street Center. And once again puts Carbondale in front of the exploration curve. So congratulations to all of those who participated in that process. Anyway, it was a sold-out event with statewide attendance and a pretty all-encompassing agenda that covered environmental justice and introduced as a start innovative deep geothermal techniques running in tandem with traditional oil and gas operations. So I'll leave you with that. And what I've observed over the last several years of following the county's culture, both at this annual event and through GCE, it appears the county's oil and gas specter is gradually devolving with its adaptation of cleaner energy and more conservation-based options. So I'd encourage this board, incoming and present, to stay engaged and take advantage of the educational findings that may inform ongoing and future local initiatives. And in leaving, I should first thank the public for honoring me with the opportunity to help guide the direction of the town, and thank the boards I've served with for allowing me to look after the more peripheral issues, as Erica mentioned, of water, open space, wildlife, and healthcare that fell within my wheelhouse, and hopefully freed up others to apply their focus to internal town business. I've enjoyed the interactions very much with the people and challenges that brought them to us, and look forward to following the town's continued progress. So as the three of us step aside, given that Carbondale sits in the crosshairs of 4 big counties, which puts it in an extremely desirable geographic location for primarily housing, water, and transportation, that especially the incoming trustees be circumspect, yet keep your heads on a swivel to maintain an awareness of what's going on around you, and stay steadfast in the continued protection of Carbondale's culture, natural resources, and governance. Thank you.
Comment?
We're gonna go all over the place, I think. So first of all, I want to thank everybody for showing up and sharing your thoughts on the situation in the Middle East. It's tragic. I really appreciate you sharing your passion and being respectful as you do it. I really look forward to the conversations that Tree's trying to help sponsor about dialogue. I think we'll go a lot farther faster in that venue than here. Turning back to the board, last Thursday night, the Glenwood Springs City Council allocated $200,000 to the buy down program. We are on our way to having 3 million by this summer. So hopefully we can actually get it going. So thank you, all 3 of you, for your support. Carbondale put money in about a year ago to set the tone, and it's amazing how long this has taken. We have a lot more to do, but it's going in a great direction. So thank you all for your support. Carbondale was really well represented a week ago Friday at the Glenwood Springs elected official social. Really useful to meet everybody. Carbondale, as usual, was the most well represented. But we have people from Aspen, Pickens County, Silt, Rifle, and Parachute. So really, really great. And potentially we should talk about maybe hosting one ourselves. The geothermal workshop is tomorrow, 3 to 5, 5 to 7 is the open house at Third Street Center. Really neat project. This is very technical. It's about proving the concept. So there's still lots of questions that need to be answered, but what all the engineers are finding is there's a really neat project there, pending funding and all kinds of things. So if you can make it, really neat opportunity. And then to Marty, Luis, and Ronnie, 2 years goes by really fast. Thank you.
Any comments? Yeah, just want to, like everyone else, thank our county trustees for their incredible dedication to the town and doing a lot of thankless service. Marty, obviously, I think you might have come into this position more prepared than anybody, having sat at the post office for all those years. And it was great. I think it was great. And it does come out in the way that you bring the common person to the table and really their perspective. And I think you have a real insight for yeah, the heartbeat of the town. And I think that we're going to miss that kind of that quality. And I think also just I appreciate your ability to kind of jump in first often. And oftentimes we have discussions and I'll come into it not really knowing what I'm thinking oftentimes, but somebody has to sort of take the first step and say what their piece is. And I appreciate your courage and oftentimes being the one to do that for us and get the ball rolling, which is can be hard sometimes. Yeah, Lonnie, I mean, I have to echo Erica's just all of the work that you do in the shadows that we don't really even see except for in this incredibly dense reports, which are I'm gonna miss actually. I just really appreciate your steadfastness and seriousness in taking the job and just such dedication to our community. And then Luis, I've always appreciated you, especially at KDNK and your wonderful musical shows, and you should tune into this radio show. Hopefully he'll have more times to fit that in. And just bringing again another perspective and connecting with a whole, realm of our community that sometimes I don't think all of the trustees connect with always. I think you've been really good about thinking about those maybe more outlined perspectives sometimes about things. And then also just I feel like you're very quiet, but incisive commentary, when it comes time to say something. Usually pretty on the money. So yeah, just my gratitude to all of you and thank you so much. And my welcoming to the new trustees, I'm looking forward to it. Just on that note, yeah, I'll echo the geothermal thing is tomorrow. Should go to that. 5 Point starts tomorrow. People should get signed up for that. There's all kinds of things. Community change maker program tomorrow night. And then just finally, I'll just mention KDNK again. We finished our membership.
Mission accomplished. They got their goal.
$88,100 for plus or minus. Plus.
I think I'm already on.
All right.
I know.
Yeah, you can get these fine corduroy hats.
Thanks, Chris. And thanks everybody for your comments. I'll just briefly share in the thanks to our outgoing trustees. It's been such a pleasure to work with each of you. As everyone said, you really are leaving the town in great hands as far as the state that it's in right now. Marty mentioned our finances are in really good shape. Our revenues are strong. We're not overspending, sort of the opposite of the federal government. And I think, local government is where it works best, where we can really be in touch with the people and our community and sit here and make good decisions. And as a lot of people said, it's not always easy, but I think what you've all brought is a shared, you're three of Carbondale's biggest fans. You love this town so much. You bring that to every discussion. You come in with a common sense attitude and you're looking for solutions and you're willing to compromise. And I think that's what makes it work. We all just, stay in our position the way we started a discussion. We might not get very far, but like Chris said, we start to talk and then we work it out. And so this board has voted unanimously a lot. And I think some people might see that as evidence that we're not debating the issues or that we all think the same. I think it's just the opposite, though. I think it's the fact that we've figured out a way to talk about things, and you three have been key to that, to get to a point where it makes sense to everybody. And we sort of look around, does this make sense? Should we move forward with this? And we don't really do it until then. So I really have appreciated that. I just have to mention, I hope everybody reads the Silver Sun every week, but this week there's a great article in here that's kind of the throwback article that just reminds us that Carbondale's been a very active citizenry and a very active town council for a long time. There's an article from 1990 where Crystal Village residents protested a planned $28,000 project at Miners Park that included restrooms, volleyball courts, and basketball court improvements. Good example of if you think something's too expensive at the moment, you're gonna look back on it. Wow, wish we could do anything for $28,000. The protest, this also sounds familiar, the protest caught former Public Works Director Peter Ware off guard. Quote, I felt we'd done our homework and that it was a well-planned project. It went through the Parks and Public Works Committees, he said in a previous article. And then people debate back and forth. They present a petition with 82 signatures against the restrooms, only 8 in favor. And they say it's not a petition, it's a statement of fact. But the trustees end up using their best judgment and voting 6-0 in favor. And we have bathrooms for all these things. These issues come up, and our role as elected officials is to take that public input and use our best judgment. And the three of you, I think, have been just great examples of that. And I look forward to our 3 new trustees carrying on that tradition. So with that, I think we're done with trustee comments. All right. And we are now to attorney's comments. All right.
Pleasure working with all 3 of you. Good luck with your next endeavors.
Thank you, Mark. Manager's comment.
Short and sweet. I guess. I actually have quite a few comments. I'll try to make them as brief as possible. I'm going to start with the really good news that Carbondale was awarded an FMLD grant of $500,000 towards our pool project. Yay. And props to Eric. He wrote the grant. I did some editing, but he really wrote the grant. And he can't even be here to celebrate because poor Eric, he's rafting the Grand Canyon right now. Right. He probably doesn't even know. So for the new trustees, one of your first pieces of business will be hopefully to approve a resolution accepting that grant on May 14th. With regard to the new trustees, oh, one more thing about the pool. We have not really begun our public fundraising campaign yet. That will start in a couple of weeks. But we already have more than $50,000 worth of individual donations. So that's a good start, and we're working on some bigger donors, corporate donors, those kinds of things. So more to come on that. I did send out an email to all the trustees, new and old, and all the department heads, talking about some dates for things that are happening for new trustee orientation and things that people need to be aware of. But I'll just repeat a couple of those here because I really want to put them on the record. First thing is that May 3rd, we are going to be holding a boards and commissions booth at First Friday. The tree board will already be out there. The bike ped commission will already be out there, and we'll just sandwich the boards and commissions piece in the middle of that from 5 to 6:30. And hopefully the public will stop and find out more about what kinds of vacancies we have and what our boards and commissions do so that we can make some appointments in June. We've got a series of trainings for the new trustees, all of which are available to all of the trustees. Those will be going really starting May 7th and running probably through the end of May. part of that will include a facilities tour of all town facilities, which of course everyone is welcome to come to. The newcomers, everything is going as planned with regard to closing down the camping in the parking lot, closing down the free showers at the rec center. Interesting piece of trivia. When we stop providing free showers, I don't know the exact number, but there are more than 10 of the Venezuelans who actually bought memberships to the rec center. So now they are not only taking showers, but they're also playing basketball. So, and we are still working, trying to coordinate with very busy managers of Pickens and Eagle County to work on the longer term effort with some nonprofits and some other things. I will say that based on what I've heard about the future plans, strategic planning for the Methodist Church, if this situation repeats itself next fall, that will no longer be an option for us. They have some pretty big plans for their property. So just so that you're aware. With regard to town center, we also have some news about town center. We have been invited based on our CHFA application to do a formal presentation to CHFA on 17 May. The designer, Art Space, and myself will be doing a presentation to CHFA, and then we should know whether we have that financing within a couple or 3 weeks. So that's pretty quick. Also, rough documents have been drafted and are being reviewed for the dissolution of the Master Association across the street. And so you should expect to see that. I'm hoping at a June meeting, having had it be signed and hopefully reviewed by the other organization's attorneys. We're also doing a salary and benefits survey. It's that time again. We're doing the salary survey, but we are also adding in a review of our current benefits. We made some changes last year. There's a lot of chatter about how to get and retain employees, and a lot of that is about benefits. So we've hired Graves Consulting. So we're using a different company than we used last time. And the department heads will be briefed on that tomorrow, and then it will go out to the employees. Along with that, we are doing a survey of all of our employees about what they'd like to see and where they think we're doing a great job and where we're falling down on the job. Lastly, thank you very much to my outgoing bosses. You have made my first 2.5 years here an absolute pleasure. It's been wonderful. It's been challenging. Lonnie, of course, working till the very last second, attending meeting after meeting after meeting. You know, I'd like to welcome the 3 new trustees. I think you'll be a great addition to the board, and I look forward to working with you. We have some presentations that we'd like to make, if this is okay with you, Ben. Okay. All right. So, I know I have a big voice, so people can probably hear me, but let me know if that's a problem. So I thought I was just nailing it because I ordered something for Marty and they told me it was going to be delivered tomorrow. But it was delivered Friday, last Friday. He called me at my conference and said, "Where'd the box come from?" Right? So anyway, what order are you in, by the way?
Oh,
Are you sharing?
I am going to have Marty, Lonnie, Louise.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yes.
So what we did was, since some of these gifts are not being presented hand to hand, we have a picture of what, or we will have a picture of what These gifts are.
Yeah, where's Marty?
Marty got. Thank you. Ready? Marty got you food from New York.
They know me well.
You food from New York.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marty.
Very appropriate.
Thought you'd enjoy that. Lonnie, thank you very much for all of your service and for being such a great member of this board and a great addition to Carbondale. I know that you're not exactly going anywhere, so stranger. Thank you. What's the words? So, you know, the tradition is a Soper's picture, but we didn't want to just sketch a Soper's picture. We wanted one with a river in it.
Oh.
So, this is for you. And
Oh,
we
look at that.
figured that once you really get a look at it, you'll know exactly where the photographer is standing. But thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Luis, we figured that more than a Soper's picture, you would like music. So, enjoy your concert.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is it. Thank you. I think that's enough.
Okay, we have two action items. First one is an Arbor Day proclamation. So we'll read that and then we can take a motion to approve it. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska and is now observed throughout the nation and world. And whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our soil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood, fuel, and countless other products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now I therefore, I've been Montemayor of Carbondale, do hereby proclaim May 4th, 2024 as Arbor Day in the town of Carbondale. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Would anyone like to?
I'd like to make a motion.
To approve that, all right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the proclamation of Arbor Day. And having been on the tree board, I think that's very appropriate.
All right, second. Motion by Marty, second by Luis, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. It is now time for the swearing in of our new trustees.
This is where they get sworn in instead of sworn at. Oh, yeah.
I, Jess Robison, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, and the laws of the State of Colorado, and the laws of the State of Colorado, and the laws and regulations of the Town of Carbondale, and the laws and regulations of the Town of Carbondale, and faithfully perform the duties of the office of Carbondale Trustee, and faithfully perform the duties of the office of Carbondale Town Trustee, upon which I'm about to enter, to the best of my ability, Okay, thanks. Christina Montemayor. I tried. Well, that's good. Raise your right hand. I, Christina Montemayor.
Do swear by the ever-loving God
do swear by the ever-loving God
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws and regulations of the Town of Carbondale,
and the laws and regulations of the Town of Carbondale,
and faithfully perform the duties of office of Carbondale trustee
and faithfully perform the duties of the Town of Trustees
upon which I'm about to enter
upon which about to enter
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Congrats.
I, Ross Kribbs,
I, Ross Kribbs,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws and regulations of the Town of Carbondale,
and the laws and regulations of the Town of Carbondale,
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of Carbondale trustee.
faithfully perform the office. Yeah, that's a long.
You can do it. Faithfully perform the duties
Will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of Carbondale trustee,
of the office of Carbondale Trustee,
upon which I'm about to enter,
on which I'm about to enter.
to the best of my ability.
Back to my-
Congrats, thank you.
Okay, short and sweet. Welcome. I think we will just adjourn from here. Is that right? And if anyone would like to join for a celebration of our outgoing and incoming trustees, I think we're going to meet up at Carbondale Field. Welcome, everyone. and thank you.